Hello and welcome everyone to the Sweet Life Podcast, Episode 1. I'm Cody. A lot of you guys might know me as McGoats, or the man who's drafting Nico Collins in all his fantasy drafts this year. Next to me is my partner Jack. Jack, why don't you introduce yourself?
My name is Jack, and I do not have a nickname like that. Although I am drafting Nico Collins in probably at least 80% of all the drafts.
I think I have a 100% share of him. So, like I said, a lot of you guys might know me from my past endeavors with the Check Down podcast. Kind of pivoting here, starting a new venture, which I'm very excited about. Jack and I decided, why not?
Sweet Life, baby.
Exactly.
Of Jack and Cody.
Yes, sir.
Original name.
Yeah, came up with it on our own.
Not inspired by anything at all.
So I guess first thing we can go into is basically what we're going to be about. Obviously, we're with the GETRIGHT Fantasy Network, so, they talk all things football, and that's kind of what we're here to do, too. We're a little more off script, I'd say.
We're experts. We know exactly what we're talking about.
Yes, absolutely. Everything we say is 100% true.
No wild takes.
Exactly. Well, I guess to get started, what we'll do, we just had our recent fantasy draft ourselves here. Jack, I'll start with you. What are some, what are your thoughts of your team overall? What are some picks that you really love that you had, and what are some picks maybe you wish you could have had back?
Absolutely. I think it's funny. We were literally just talking about when you do your fantasy draft, because we were going through the list of everybody, like, oh, who do we think has the best fantasy draft? Who did the best? And it's really hard to not look at your own team and be like, man, I fucking nailed it, dude. I got the best team.
Obviously, my team's the best. I'm gonna win.
Right,
so.
Yeah. So it's easy for me to sit here and be like, oh, well, I got Jahmyr Gibbs, Josh Allen, and Pacheco, DJ Moore, Jaden Reed, Dalton Kincaid. Like, oh, I have the best team. But in reality, if I had to try and break it down from an unbiased perspective, I really lucked out. I don't know if you remember in the draft, I took Josh Allen somewhere around the third round. For whatever reason, Kincaid was the last of like the top guys from the tight end group to go.
So stacked there.
Yeah, well, I remember our buddy Johnny, who was up like maybe 2 picks before me. He needed a tight end, and he was out loud being like, oh, I'm either going to take Kincaid or I'm going to take Kyle Pitts, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, please. I'm not saying anything, but I'm just like, dude, please. And Kyle Pitts went before Kincaid, and I'm just like, oh my God. And Josh Allen was also, for whatever reason, if you remember, the last of like the top quarterbacks. Just fell into the third round for some reason. Guys like Mahomes, Jalen, I think Lamar even went ahead.
Me personally, I feel like I got a top quarterback, but we'll get into that a little later.
Okay, yeah. No, I agree. I think you did as well. But yeah, I think I got, for some reason, lucky with the fall of Josh, lucky with the fall of Kincaid to stack with him. I got one of like my dudes that I have to draft. We kicked off the podcast saying Nico Collins. That's one of our guys.
Love him.
Right next to him, going sort of the same territory, is Isaiah Pacheco, and that is one of my guys. I'm glad I got to grab him. And then just down the board, I just took a bunch of upside guys like Xavier Legette, Jalen Wright, Adonai Mitchell, who I think could be a big target. They don't have a crazy wide receiver room right now. You know what I mean? Josh Downs is coming off sort of an injury, and Alec Pierce is kind of a sort of a no-name.
I like Pittman.
Pittman, obviously.
Pittman's pretty solid.
But after him, it's kind of like this weird slope of like, the skill level is vastly different.
Mm-hmm.
You take the upside of a guy like Adonai. I wouldn't sleep on Gus Edwards either as a goal line back for that Harbaugh Chargers team that is going to want to run the ball at the goal line. So yeah, those are some of my. That's my breakdown of my draft. Why I think I did pretty well. Let me pull up your team here really quick. I mean, obviously you have it off your head probably.
You mean the league winning team?
Yeah.
So Jack, when you go into draft, do you have any kind of strategy, or does it kind of just see what guys are getting taken and then you go from there?
That's a good question. I do.
I mean, you could be open. We already had a draft, so
right, and it's not being released before the J. Crew draft tonight, which I'm very excited for that. By the way, I always go into it with a strategy, revealing my secrets here, but I typically won't reach for a quarterback before around the third round, and I always make it a point to get at least one of the top 5-ish tight ends, because the drop off of like, oh, I'm just gonna take a guy in the late round, like, is it Hunter Henry? Is that
Hunter Henry you can get
on the Patriots?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, or sleeper guy like Luke Musgrave. I kind of like him, but like fantasy-wise, the point differential of, like, the Sam Laportas, the Travis Kelce's, the Dalton Kincaids, Mark Andrews of the world, from a guy like a Luke Musgrave or a Hunter Henry, it's, like, night and day. You know what I mean? I don't want to have to be praying that Cade Otton gets me 10 points barely a week when I could just bank on Travis Kelce getting at least 14 a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree with the sentiment on the tight ends. I also like to have a top, tight end. It's a position that could win you leagues.
Yeah.
Like you said, you can get Kelce, who, you're guaranteed 10, 12 points at a floor. Or if you take a guy in the Cade Otton round, Pat Fryermuth round, you might be walking away some weeks with, 4 or 5 points.
And I like Pat, but...
Me too.
Pat or Travis Kelce or Sam Laporta, or, like, I'm just going to take the shot.
It's a position that could win you leagues. I agree, too, on the quarterback. I'm not going to reach. I'm going to let, I'll let anyone in the league. They can have the Mahomes. They could have the Burrows. They could have the, Lamar Jacksons. Because if you look at it at the end of the year, each year, your difference between your QB1 and, say, your QB12, it's less than 100 fantasy points.
Yeah, the only like devil's advocate I'll say there though is the guys like Jalen, Josh Allen. You could even argue someone like an Anthony Richardson, where
the rushing
upside.
Those guys. If I were to reach on a quarterback early, I'm going to get one of those guys.
Yeah, if you miss out on one of the, if I didn't get Josh, then I punt the position and I scoop up someone like a Stafford late or Brock Purdy.
Yeah, see, I've ever since I started fantasy, I don't think I've taken a quarterback first. Probably 4 rounds.
Ever?
And just being that, like, I know I'm not getting a top guy. So while guys are taking Mahomes and while guys are taking Josh Allen's of the world, that's where I'm going to sit there and I'm going to get Cooper Kupp in the 4th round. I'm going to get Mark Andrews in the 6th round. I'm going to get these good position guys that, it's going to give me the edge. And going back, like I said, I feel like I got a top quarterback. I got Stafford in, I want to say, like, round 10.
Yeah.
So, like, really I would rather take a Stafford round 10 than a Mahomes in round 3. Because at the end of the season, he's not going to score that much more points than Stafford.
Yeah.
And now, instead of reaching for Mahomes in the 3rd, I was able to pair up Stafford with Kupp. I was able to get my guy Nico Collins.
You're already betting on Kupp, so
in
why
a PPR league,
yeah.
quarterbacks aren't catching the ball. So
yeah. Plus, you could say, oh, Matt Stafford is coming off an injury. You scooped up Russ, pretty sure super late as well.
Russ, I think I got it was like my
near the end.
3rd last pick or something.
Yeah, and just like as an insurance pick, which I don't usually like drafting 2 quarterbacks, but when you draft someone like Stafford, it could be nice to have.
I normally don't, but being it was a 14-man league and a lot of people were taking a second quarterback. I didn't want to sit there with like a Daniel Jones as my backup. I didn't want to have,
Oh, we're going to talk about
the way
that this was drafted.
I wanted to be sure that if, like you said, Stafford coming off injury, will he get hurt again? Is it going to linger? Is he going to miss a couple weeks? I wanted, Russ at this point in his career and what we saw the past couple of years, he's not going to put up the numbers he was putting up in Seattle, but I still rather him than a guy like Daniel Jones.
I didn't ask you either, and I think it'll be interesting for people to hear this. Have you ever won a fantasy tournament?
Oh, yeah.
You have?
A fantasy league?
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be doing a fantasy podcast if I didn't. Be kind of hypocritical if I
I've only been doing it I've only played fantasy for the past, like, 3 years?
I'm actually coming off a win last year in my win league.
Oh, were you really?
500 smackaroons.
Nice. Okay, hell yeah. Smackaroons, baby.
I mean, I'll take this as a bragging point, I guess, but you know the method that I've been using as far as drafting my team, I'm in at least the playoffs each year. Okay. And won last year, so it's not broke, don't fix it. Obviously, some years are going to go better than others.
Yeah.
And it all just depends who you take and who you're eye on, which I guess is a good transition. I know you said Pacheco. What are maybe some other guys you're really high on this year that other people be like, oh, what are you talking about?
I'll give you my sleeper. Like, I don't know if
you're... my sleeper.
I know
I can't stop talking about it.
Well, I'll boomerang it right back at you in a minute. My sleeper pick when it is like getting into those later rounds and some of the big names are already gone, I really like looking at good offenses and good quarterbacks when it's getting to the late rounds of no-name wide receivers. And when I look at the Chargers, And you look at their wide receiver room. They just drafted Ladd McConkey, who I'm very high on.
I like Ladd.
Mike stole Ladd from me. I wanted Ladd so bad. I wanted Ladd so bad it made me mad. We're spitting bars today, people. Where's it going with this? Chargers offense.
Yes.
You know about our friend Justin Herbert, and I know about Justin Herbert because last
Close
year...
personal friend.
Yes. Close personal friend of the show. Shout out Justin Herbert. He was a top 10 quarterback. He might have even been a top 5 quarterback fantasy for like the majority of last year. He did fall off, unfortunately, at the end.
I think you finished around...
Because I traded...
like middle, early 15th last year.
Oh, I traded...
But the year before, he was top 5.
Yeah. He was still good last year, but I ended up trading for him with our good friend Charlie. And I traded him C.J. Stroud before C.J. Stroud blew up. So that shows you that I am an expert and you should listen to me and I know what I'm talking about. That did not work out for me.
Well,
anyway, this is a wild
we've all been there.
It's a wild digression. I'm going to get to the point here. Joshua Palmer, okay? Ladd McConkey, while I am very high on him, he has been going through this weird injury stuff in the offseason. And who is the wide receiver, too, that Justin Herbert already has chemistry with? After they lose Keenan Allen, the guy that Justin Herbert is going to want to go to on those third downs is a guy that he already has chemistry with in Josh Palmer. I'm not saying that he's going to finish as a top 15 wide receiver. But
the upside's there.
The upside in those late rounds, I'm not going to pass him up.
See, my guy on the Chargers, if I'm not taking McConkey, give me some DJ Chark. I've been a DJ Chark guy for years now.
Okay.
And what does Herbert like to do? He likes to throw the ball downfield. What does DJ Chark do best? He's good at going deep. You know, you're going to have your Ladd McConkey, who is going to be a PPR monster. He's probably going to catch 6 passes a game. You think he might be this year? That's what I was going to say. He might be this year's Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if I'm not getting my McConkey, if I want another piece of that Chargers offense, I want DJ Chark. I think that's the guy I want. Palmer's not a bad pick.
Are you having up DJ Chark because of the Green Bay game last year, where you absolutely put up 25 fantasy points?
Maybe.
DJ Chark last year put up around 30 points max in 15 weeks. That's not good. I'm going to do the math for you right now. That's not good fantasy production. But then
it's not what we're talking about here.
In week 16, he decided to put up 25 in one game. So
it's not what we're talking about here.
I think he might have just left it dirty.
My thing is, a lot of people, and the thing is with DJ Chark, it's weird to think the dude's only 26 or 27. He's still young.
He is still young.
You know, injury history.
Yes.
But he's a year removed out of it.
Yeah.
And like we were just saying, target shares in that offense are wide open. The only receivers coming back, I mean, you lost your number 1 tight end. Everett's gone. You lost your top 2 receivers, Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. I mean, Williams was injured last year, but your top 2 receivers are gone.
Is Everett on the Ravens now?
Everett went to the Bears.
Oh, okay. Oh, man, the Bears are just...
But, I mean, the target shares are right there. I mean, even your running back, who was second or third on the team in receptions, he's gone. So, I mean, the target shares are wide open. So, like I said, a Palmer's not a bad guy to go after. I'm staying away from Quentin Johnson. That dude couldn't catch a cold. But my guy, what I want,
I grab the big Q late in basketball draft. So
I don't even think you could pay me to take him. And I'll say that unless we're talking like a 20-man league and we're around 18, maybe I'll take a flyer on him. But he's the guy I'm going to avoid. I mean, I'm seeing these videos of him in just practice.
Just
the dude has stone hands.
He was a first round pick, man. I don't know if I'm in, and I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't fall in. Jalen Reagor was a first round pick. Henry Ruggs was a first round pick.
Talk about Jalen Reagor. Okay. Jalen Reagor, I think he's on the Patriots now. He's on the Vikings last year.
I think that's where he's
2 years ago.
I think that's where he's posted up.
Yeah, the Eagles chewed him up and spit him out. They didn't need him.
I mean, I think he chewed himself up and spit himself out. But
that's more like it.
I think the funniest thing, I know we're getting really off topic here, but I think the funniest thing in that draft is when, who was it? Was it the Minnesota when they took Jefferson? Reagor went before Jefferson.
Yes.
And I remember
he did.
Them basically being like, you guys are it. Like the Minnesota, like you saw like the video of like the front office or whatever, and they saw the Reagor pick announced, and everyone like started clapping. Hands up, like cheering, standing. They're like, "Aw."
Yeah,
But anyway,
well,
we had a little off
what are
topic
you gonna
there.
do? Hey, look at the Vikings and the Eagles now. I'm happy.
It's true.
I'm
it's
not
true.
gonna complain about how it worked out. Hopefully, it continues to work out. But we were
Got a little off topic. Yeah, we were talking about sleepers. Did you have another one you want to go into?
I know you probably want to hype up your boy before we go into talking about sleepers. We can do the key game after this, but you got to talk about your
I
man.
won't go too far into it, but a guy, I've said it. I mean, Jack knows. I can't stop raving about him. Everyone I spoke to, I can't stop raving about him.
You announced the pick.
You see this knockoff Packer jersey. My guy. It's not Reed. It's not Watson. It's not Dobbs. It's my boy Dontavion Wicks. Why?
Who a lot of people don't even know the name.
Exactly. Listen to me. Last year, who was the number one receiver in separation on one-on-one coverage?
Was it Dontavion?
It wasn't DK Metcalf. It wasn't Jefferson. It was my boy Dontavion Wicks.
Oh,
He led the league last year in separation on one-on-one coverage.
That's so funny.
But guess what? He's not going to draw a top corner. He's not going to draw the second best corner. He's going to get, he might get a safety help. He might get a linebacker on him.
Oh, no. The Packers are in a beautiful situation because you have like 3 number 1 wide receivers.
Exactly. Guess what? You can put your best corner on Dobbs one game. Whatever. Want to put him on Watson? Whatever. Guess who's going to feast?
Very similar to
Love needs a check down. Love needs a guy. And I'm telling you, Dontavion Wicks, I don't know how many of you have ever watched his tape or anything. His footwork, and I know this is a hot take, reminds me of Dontavion Adams. Devontae Adams.
Yes.
His footwork, I'm telling you, young Devontae Adams. I see Dontavion Wicks. I feel like I'm watching the same guy. If you're in your draft, late round, you're struggling. Who could I take over upside? Dontavion Wicks is the guy.
I don't think you could go wrong taking many wide receivers late round as long as they're on an offense that's similar to a good offense like the Packers. Because you can't go wrong. You know that they're going to air it out. They're going to be able to air it out.
It's a good offense.
Good quarterback.
They're going to score.
Yeah.
Good quarterback. Good coach.
No, I 100% agree.
LaFleur's going to scheme receivers open. Look at that Cowboys game last year. Luke Musgraves. There was no one within 30 yards of him.
That Cowboys game was a beautiful game.
LaFleur knows how to coach.
Dude, that Cowboys game, people just thought that you guys were just like that. This was going to be it. Cowboys were just going to move on. They were just going to. And when I tell you the smile that was on my face the entirety of that game, I watched with glee.
We were at. Did we watch that together? We were at Bloomy's house.
No, we didn't. We watched the Niners game at Bloomy's house.
What's the Niners game? Where did I don't remember where I watched that game. But oh man,
I want to talk about that Niners game.
We don't have to. No, we can ignore that. See, my thing about that game too is I've been such a Brock Purdy truther,
and he came back to bite you in the ass.
I know. He really did. I always stood by Purdy's side. The guy Pat, who I used to do my old show with. I remember a couple years ago we got into the argument, Purdy or Pickett, who's going to be better after their rookie years, and I'm like, brother, it's Purdy.
No brainer.
Exactly.
Yeah, Pickett is...
So Pat, I don't know if your mind has changed yet, but I'm hoping at this point you understand and see now, Purdy is the better quarterback than Pickett.
Yeah, right now Pickett is not even earning, but fighting to get the backup quarterback job in Philadelphia. As an Eagles fan,
he might not even be a backup.
Exactly.
And I was told this guy might be.
You know who Tanner McGee is? Probably not.
I've heard the name, but
he's probably going to be the backup.
Tanner McGee.
I think it's funny to note too, just to put a little period at the end of this Dontavion Wicks conversation. I think you could say that our Dontavion Wicks conversation at your house when I was most recently here last is what inspired to do this podcast, which is kind of funny. So Dontavion Wicks, he's just birthing just W's everywhere.
Exactly.
He's just birthing great ideas.
Dontavion Wicks was the birth child of this show.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be here without you, Dontavion.
Dontavion Wicks, shout out Dontavion.
There's just one other guy, outside of Nico Collins and Dontavion Wicks, that I'm all in on this year. It's George Pickens.
Yeah.
Johnson's out of town. Better quarterback. Upgrade a quarterback.
Did you get George?
I didn't get George. I was upset I didn't. At that point, I already had my 3 receivers.
I feel like he's going.
That's my thing. He's going around round 4, 5-ish. But I think, I wouldn't be surprised to see George Pickens be a top 15 fantasy receiver this year.
He's the only
possibly
guy
top 10.
That Russ could chuck.
Better quarterback. He's the clear-cut number 1 receiver on that team.
No, and you lose Deontay Johnson.
Exactly.
There's no one else to help share the targets. I mean, they drafted
Their number two
Wilson,
their number two right now is either Roman Wilson or Von Jefferson. I mean, there
Jefferson. Yeah,
there really isn't proven talent outside of them.
No,
I mean, you have Freiermuth, but
yeah,
I mean, Pickens is going to get you.
They're going to try.
You might see 120, 130 targets this year.
Yeah, yeah. The only thing that you could argue against Pickens is that, you know, obviously Russ isn't a dog. He wasn't the dog that he once
Not
was.
Anymore.
And they are probably going to really try and hammer the ball with Najee and
Yeah,
Jalen.
I mean, they have Arthur Smith now, who does like to run the ball.
Not with Bijan, though.
But any team's going to have to throw. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, track record on Arthur Smith. I mean, you have Drake London. You had Kyle Pitts, who I don't think it's crazy to say haven't lived up to the hype either.
Absolutely not. I made it a firm belief to myself that I will not even just humor the idea of drafting Kyle Pitts.
I've done it before.
Because I did it the past 2 years, I think. And yeah,
but like we talked about, if there was ever a year for Pitts to have a good year, this would be it. Because, I mean, look at his quarterbacks before this year. You had Desmond Ridder, who just got cut. He's not even on team. Taylor Heineke, who I don't even know where he's at anymore.
He's doing zins on the sideline, maybe. I mean, that picture is phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, that's your quarterback, so who's throwing the ball. That's why I guess another guy who I'm really in on this year, who I think is a victim of poor quarterback play, Terry McLaurin. He's another guy who Jaden Daniels has looked good in the preseason, looked good in OTAs. You know, Terry McLaurin might actually finally have a good quarterback, and I think we could see another good year. Like I said, it's another.
Kingsbury, the coach of the Commanders now, though, so they might try and just focus on running the ball too, though. So you never know. I
mean, too, but like I said, I mean, teams are
everyone's
going to
have a guy. Yeah, you're right.
Traded Dotson, so it's another team. Like outside of McLaurin, who are you throwing the ball to?
Yeah, it's two different ways to look at it too, because you could look at someone like Terry McLaurin and be worried that they're going to run the ball. I don't trust him, or like the way you're looking at it, you'd be like, well, he's the only guy, or like a George Pickens.
See, guys like McLaurin and Pickens this year, they're guys, fantasy-wise, I'm talking about, where I'll take the risk.
Yeah. Because
either I take him at the price. He's another guy, McLaurin. He's probably going, 4th, 5th round. He could get you a round 2, round 3 upside, type of numbers. But guess what? He ends up not doing as good as you think. You got him in the 5th round. You know what I mean? Both guys, I think they're going to give you at least that floor. Or if you take them 4th, 5th round, 6th round, I've been seeing them fall. You're okay taking them there. You know what I mean?
I gotta show my hand here a little bit though to you right now, Cody, because this is a topic of conversation that I want to get your opinion on, and I'm ready to be reamed for it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm ready to be reamed for this opinion. As a devout Philadelphia Eagles fan, I gotta come clean with you right now, man. When I'm doing my fantasy football drafts, I do not. This is gonna sound crazy.
I mean,
I don't.
You just said you're an Eagles fan, so
it's out there now. If I see Terry McLaurin in the 9th round,
not taking him.
If I see Zeke late, if I see Jaden Daniels late, and I don't have a quarterback, I will not draft other players in the NFC East.
I mean, it's fair. I mean, I've been in a couple drafts where I'm in, round 3, 4, and I see DJ Moore there. No. I'm not going to touch him.
You don't touch him?
I'm not going to take him.
Okay, good.
However, in our league, I got Swift, but needed a running back. I mean, I think we were around, it might have been 5 or something. I don't like having to do it, but my options outside of him,
well, look at
I wasn't thrilled with.
I look at it this way. If it's a football game on Sunday right now, and I have Ezekiel Elliott on my team, and they're playing the Eagles, I'm telling you right fucking now, I'm not rooting for the Cowboys.
Oh,
I'm not going to allow...
See, I am Green Bay over fantasy.
Right, but then isn't that a conflict of interest? If you got him on your team? If you got Caleb Williams and DJ Moore on your team...
But that's why I try to avoid them. I'm the same way.
So you don't swear off it, but...
I don't swear off it. I try to stay away from it. For example, say when I did draft Swift, I'm trying to think. Say a guy like Dave Montgomery.
I like Dave.
Even same. I mean, it's a bad example because
they're both similar though. They're similar.
But because I hate the Bears more than the Lions, I might take Montgomery over Swift.
Okay, Raheem might be around there too. Can't remember.
No, I got Raheem late.
Did you?
Yeah, I got Raheem late, that's a guy I'm very happy about taking.
my ADP senses are off right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've gotten reamed out for that.
Well, get ready because we got that coming up too.
I know. But I've gotten reamed out for that before where it's like, man, you're just trying to win money. Like, don't you want to just take the best players? And it's like, yes. But it turns into dirty money for me.
It's a fine line to walk sometimes, and I totally agree.
Okay.
No, I'm not. I don't think you're crazy for that one.
Okay, good. Cool.
Definitely not crazy.
We're talking about ADP though. You want to explain your idea here for this little game you got for me?
Absolutely.
Or we got for each other here.
Yeah. So what we have here now
for the people to play along with at
for
home,
some
the kids at home.
For you fantasy football crazies out there, we decided to cook up a little game. We don't really have a name for it. We're just calling it the ADP game right now. We both picked a couple players. We got their ADP, and we're going to give each other a name, a number, and we just have to guess if their ADP is over or under that number. My first guy for you, I have Zay Flowers, and his over/under ADP is 55. So basically,
pick five?
On a 10-man, on a 10-man league, you're looking round 5, pick 5. So is his ADP over or under 55?
See, I like Zay Flowers, but I feel like it's under.
It is under.
Yeah.
His ADP is we're going off sleeper PPR, APYs here.
Per reception.
And you're right, it is under.
Yeah,
his current APY is, or what am I saying? ADP. APY. I'm talking.
I don't know.
I work in a bank.
Is that money terms?
Yeah.
Big money moves?
His ADP is 52.7, so he is under. So you're right.
52.7. You said 55 though.
I know, but you guessed under. His ADP is under 55.
Okay, so under meaning he's going before that.
He's going before pick 55.
So yes. I picked the right answer without picking the right answer is what I did there. I interpreted it as...
Oh, you meant
he's going
after
past
55.
It.
Well, then you're
I know
wrong.
exactly what I'm doing.
Well, then you're wrong. He's getting picked. He's getting picked before 55.
Okay. I like Zay Flowers. I like Zay Flowers
Me
a lot,
too.
but I feel like I see him going later than I think that he is. But
it's one of those offenses, and...
Similar
to go off another tangent here.
George Pickens, I think.
Similar to George Pickens, but Mark Andrews is the one there. It's kind of like the Chiefs. I mean, Kelsey's number one.
But Pat Freiermuth and the Steelers, too. They're very similar. They want to run the ball.
That's what I mean. You have a quarterback who's going to want to run the ball. You now have Derrick Henry. You have Mark Andrews who's going to eat. I agree. You have Mark Andrews who's going to eat 12 targets a game. I mean, you look at Baltimore. They're not, since Lamar's been there, they're not a heavy passing team.
No, but when they have to pass it, it's Zay.
Well, see, I think it's Andrews.
Unless
That's where I'm different on McLaurin and Pickens over a guy like Flowers.
Okay, but you could also say, and I never draft by projecting injury. We sort of talked about this earlier, but Mark Andrews hasn't been the healthiest guy. If he ever goes down or comes out,
Flowers would be the guy.
He's the only guy.
Also, Likely's not a bad backup. I like Likely. When Andrews is down, I thought about taking Likely late in our draft as a handcuff, but
when Andrews goes down, it's likely. It's likely to happen that.
It's likely to happen. You got one for me? You want another one?
I'll swap. Yeah, I'll give you one. All right. This is a fun one, and I have ESPN and Sleeper. So if you happen,
I'm gonna go off Sleeper.
Okay.
Because I use Sleeper more.
Okay, that's fine.
I mean, I can't imagine they're too far apart though. Are they?
So we'll get to some picks.
All right.
They will surprise you.
Okay.
Yes, hide the children. All right, I'm gonna give you my easy one here first. We're gonna go with Malik Neighbors here. Do you think that Malik Neighbors is drafted after or before the beginning of the 4th round?
It's got to be after.
It is after.
As I say, there's no way he's going before Flowers. Oh, maybe he's going before Flowers.
But it is in. Oh well, look at this. On ESPN he averages 4.12, so around 4 pick 12.
Okay.
Sleeper he rounds about the middle. I did mine for 12 team PPR by the way. Sleeper he's going 4 pick 8. So on ESPN.
Oh, so he's going before Flowers. Okay.
ESPN, yes, he's going higher than Zay Flowers, higher than T Higgins, and higher than Dalton Kincaid. Which I feel like is kind of wild.
It's fair. I mean,
I know he's the number one wide receiver there, but
I'm skeptical when it comes to redraft leagues and rookies. I'm very hesitant to take them.
I love my rookies, but I don't like my rookie to a team where their quarterback has never had a top 5 or I don't think a top 10
It's
fantasy
the
wide
shaky
receiver.
quarterback. The offensive line's not great.
No.
I mean,
They're
just
gonna finish
lost Saquon.
They're going to finish as a bottom 5 team in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, your coach, maybe not the best. I don't hate him.
I
think he's just he's got a tough hand to deal with. Again, I mean, the Giants is probably a team talking about teams to avoid in fantasy. You won't see a Giant on my fantasy teams.
Yeah, it wasn't hard for me to avoid that NFC team to pick where I'm just
I mean, that's a team.
Wipe it off my board.
I mean, depending on maybe round, if you're, later in the draft and maybe a Singletary sitting there, you maybe take a flyer. But like I said, Neighbors, I understand the talent's there. The talent's there. Attractive rookie. I can't do it.
I can't do it.
I can't do it.
And I'm a big
I'd rather take a Zay Flowers.
Yeah,
I'll take Zay Flowers over
all those
Neighbors.
guys. I'd take Zay Flowers, T. Higgins, and Dalton Kincaid over him.
I will take all of them over. I mean, it just smells like
shit.
Exactly. it's not a team I want to.
And that's me trying to be a biased Eagles fan too.
I don't have hair to pull out, but I can imagine, down say 10 points, and Giants are playing Monday night, and you got Neighbors, and
it's disgusting.
I'm not.
Also,
it's not a thing I'd want to bet on to win my game.
My interesting take on Neighbors this year too, for any Giants fans that may or may not be listening, just a brief digression to the ADP game here. Somehow Daniel Jones has been able to keep his job because of excuses of injury and offensive line or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like every year for the past 3 years or so, it's been, this is a prove it year for Daniel. This is a prove it year, and he keeps getting another chance, and a new coach.
Well, I think the Giants really backed himself into a corner paying him all that money.
That as well, but now, see, they shoot themselves right in the freaking foot because now it's this year, right? And I'm telling you, this is live.
Year.
It's a prove it year, right? But we have it on recording right here.
Talk your shit.
Testing. We have it right here. I'm telling you right now. And this is for you, Daniel. I'm telling you, Daniel, if you want to save your job, I am telling you how to do it right now. All you have to do is pay a hitman, okay? Or just have there be some sort of unfortunate accident.
And kill all the 31 quarterbacks in the league.
That too. That's more expensive route. A lot more chickens to fry on that one. But if you...
I mean, he's got the money now.
If Malik... Mark my words, Malik Neighbors goes down to an unfortunate injury early in the season, week 4, week 5. All the sympathizers will just be saying it's not Daniel Jones' fault. Look, he didn't have his number one guy to throw to, and he will buy himself even more time. We have that on recording right now, so that at the end of the year,
I agree. Like
if
I
Daniel
said,
Jones, it's like, oh, it's not his fault. It's not his fault. What are you supposed to do at the end of the day, dude?
I think they really backed themselves to a corner because no one's going to trade for him off the contract he has. No one wants to pay him that.
No, it's disgusting.
I don't know why the Giants even thought it would be a good idea to pay him that.
It's disgusting. I don't even like talking about it.
He was bad for 2 years, had a decent year, won a playoff game, and then they paid him off of that.
And I'm an Eagles fan. I should be rooting for
Don't get me wrong. Jordan Love just got the bag off of 1 year too. However, Jordan Love has looked far beyond.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, that's not even comparable. I can't even compare the two. But it's just funny because I have Giants fans in my family, and I should be rooting.
Sincerities.
Yeah, well, whatever. I don't care. But I should be rooting for their downfall and be happy that they have Daniel to just shoot themselves in the foot. But at this point, I see it over and over. I'm like, stop! Just stop! It's sad for me to watch a train wreck every year.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. It's hard for me, and obviously, I'm not an NFL owner or anything. But how do you pay a guy like Daniel Jones, and then not pay a guy like Saquon Barkley?
I don't even want to go into that conversation. I mean, I'm glad they didn't pay him because the Eagles just snatched them up. But we're digressing here. I want to hear your next player for the ADP.
All right, my next one I got for you. It's gonna be a little interesting one. Cole Kmet.
Ooh.
Do you think he's taken before or after pick 119? The end of the 11th round.
I've seen him fall so hard. I'm going to say after.
You're looking at the end of the 11th round.
He's going after.
And you'd be correct.
Okay.
His ADP is 121.5. So he's taken just after. He's going the beginning of the 12th round.
I've seen him fall very far in drafts. That almost says that one was kind of easier for me just because of I mean, I'm in a couple leagues, but I've also been doing a lot of best ball, which is slightly different ADP. Best ball,
Which, if you want a best ball league, go to Underdog Fantasy /GetRight Fantasy, and you will get a deposit match up to $100 on your first deposit.
Oh, is that true?
You're welcome, Anthony. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so awesome.
Get Right Fantasy. Get Right Fantasy.
We could plug Underdog.
It's for new users only, so sorry.
However, I just hopped on Underdog.
Get your code, get on there, get your deposit match.
No, I've been trying to get. I think I sent you Underdog too, actually.
You did send it to me, but I already had it, so I was like, sorry, Jack.
Trying to get my money.
I had it using code Get Right Fantasy.
There you go. Wait for the camera. But I'll give you my next one. I don't know if you're cheating looking at my paper here.
I haven't seen.
Jaden Reed. Is he going?
Jaden Reed, okay.
Before or after the 7th round?
Oh, that's a good spot.
Start of the 7th round. 7-1.
7-1. I'm gonna say he's going.
This one's.
I'm gonna say he's going before.
You are wrong.
Oh, really?
He is going after, and this I sort of like tricked you here in this one. So in sleeper, he's going 7-2. So
so right there.
Cheeky,
Okay.
Sort of a cheeky one. But how about sleeper?
It's a good spot for him. I mean, that's good value there, if you ask me.
I think it's great value.
It's fantastic value.
But you want to talk about great value on sleeper? That's 7-2. ESPN 8.4.
Wow.
He's going around guys like JSN, Xavier Worthy, Tony Pollard, and Raheem on ESPN. But it's not bad. But
I mean,
dude, that's a number one wide receiver on one of the.
I mean, out of those guys, would you say Reed and Worthy and Raheem?
No, so Jackson Smith and Jigba is around there. Xavier Worthy's around there. Tony Pollard's around there, and Raheem Mostert's around there. I would take.
Out of those guys, I think Reed's probably the one I would take.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'd take.
So that's good value there.
I like the upside of Xavier Worthy, but I
like it too.
I lean Jaden
and
Reed.
This argument could be said for Reed as well, being that there might be a lot of mouths to feed in that offense. Yes. But you look at it, Reed. You could argue he's the number one mouth to feed in Green Bay. Where Worthy, what is he going to be? The third, possibly fourth when Hollywood Brown comes back. Because Kelsey's going to be the guy.
Wait, Worthy you're talking about?
Worthy.
Oh, I think Worthy could be the number 2.
So
Marquise Brown is injured.
Well,
right?
Marquise Brown's injured. Kelsey's going to be the one. You still have Rashee Rice, who still hasn't faced any disciplinary actions.
Rashee Rice, number 1 wide receiver. Number 2 is probably going to be Xavier.
Oh, yeah, I was just saying in general, like 3 after Kelsey. And receiver-wise, you're probably talking 2.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
But, like, as far as target share goes, I mean, he might be, 3rd on the roster, where a guy like Reed could very easily be, lead Green Bay in targets.
You're right.
I mean, it probably will be Dobbs again, because loves Dobbs. I love Wicks.
I love Wicks. Okay, we get it.
All right. My last one I'll give you. And I'm going to, get away from players. I'm going to give you the Eagles defense.
Oh, my God. I'm so glad you went here. So we went very similar routes. Oh, my God. I can't wait to go into this.
Eagles defense. And do you believe they're taken before or after pick 213? So that would be, you're looking at the...
It's after. I know that it's after. It has to be.
It's before.
Is it really?
They're going at 211. That's sleeper.
And I'm going to tell you right now, because it's funny, the next one that I'm going to give you is defense, but I have an asterisk next to it. When it comes to the application of choice for drafting, I like the user interface and everything on ESPN personally better.
I'm a sleeper guy.
I know you're a sleeper guy.
I'm a sleeper guy.
And I like sleeper. But in terms of, and I'm not throwing any shade, not trying to ruin anyone's day at work.
Yeah, I don't work there.
Not trying to have everybody have the worst day at their job. But the people who draft on ESPN and the people who draft on Sleeper are 2 entirely different types of people.
I agree. And I think that's why we see these ADPs very different.
It's insane. Mm-hmm. It's insane. I mean, we just talked about Jaden Reed have a whole round differential where he falls to 8 past the start of round 8 in ESPN. And Sleeper, he's going in 7. Mm-hmm. And this is going to go... I'm going to segue right into this next ADP pick here, our final ADP pick.
Go right ahead.
Because then I'm going to go on a short tirade. And we're going to have a conversation here. I've got to breathe out for this one. You picked the Eagles defense. It's so funny that you picked defense because I also picked a defense.
I figured I would throw a little curveball in there.
I like that, but it's interesting here because you have it for sleeper. I have it for ESPN and sleeper.
Okay.
Do you think the Cleveland Browns defense, probably one of the top?
I know they're getting taken before Phillies. I know that.
Right. You got an edge there. Well, you know sleeper. Then I'll ask you ESPN. How about that?
That's fine.
Because now you already have the cheat for sleeper.
That's fine.
So,
I mean, I wouldn't know the number, but I know they are getting taken in front of Philly.
Right. On ESPN, are they being taken before or after round 11?
Oh, it's gotta be after.
My friend, you are
No?
sorely mistaken.
Damn, I'm bad at this game.
No,
11?
you're not bad at this game. The problem.
Well, I mean, they were probably looking at our draft, and people were taking 2 defenses before round 15.
Oh,
so.
we're gonna get there, my friend. We are going to get there to the troubled folk that we draft with. That's okay. I get that not everyone is into fantasy as some people, but
Sure.
let me just tell you this really quick. In sleeper, the Browns defense is going at a respectable round 17, pick 1.
Which makes sense.
That-
They're going 11th round in ESPN.
No, my friend. They are going in the 7th round at pick 9. I swear to you,
insane.
that's their ADP 7.
So
7.9.
So they're going
in
same
ESPN.
round as
They're going
Zay
to-
Flowers.
But
That's
You
crazy.
have Jaden Reed, you have Roma Dunze, Xavier Worthy, Keon Coleman, Dallas Goedert, and Jerome Ford in that ballpark.
That's crazy. A
I'm
defense
gonna,
stat
I'm gonna,
is
I'm gonna,
crazy.
I'm gonna tell you right now, just from a pure, practical thinking standpoint, if you are in your typical redraft league, you find yourself in the 7th round, even if you have 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a quarterback. That does not mean that you have to fill out the rest of your spots at that point. A kicker and a defense, I mean, but there was a time last year where the Dallas defense got me 20 points in a week, and it's like,
But
yes,
you're
that's
preying
gonna
on that.
that's
It's
gonna
not gonna
that's gonna happen, but football just doesn't usually work like that.
Any defense can do that for you.
Why would you settle on the Cleveland Browns defense in the 7th round and pray that they're going to do that for you every week, which they won't? I tell you right now, they won't. I don't think a defense ever has.
I mean, you got to look at, they have one of the toughest schedules.
Yes.
And
They're in the hardest division.
Their division alone is tough.
Yes. You are telling me you would rather settle for the Cleveland Browns defense that you are probably going to end up cutting at some point for when you find out that they're not doing well or whatever.
Yeah, see, that's...
Or you take the upside on a guy like Xavier freaking Worthy, who is on probably a top 5 offense this year with Patrick Mahomes. You could take Keon Coleman, who's fight for the number 1 spot in Buffalo. Like Jerome Ford.
Rightfully is.
Jerome Ford, who is on the Browns, the special teams that you're drafting, who is going to touch the ball at least 10 times a game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with you there. I'm totally on board with what you're saying.
Everyone can do whatever they want. If I'm drafting in any league, ESPN, sleeper, best ball, I am not taking a kicker or defense until my last 2 picks.
That's usually what I go off to.
You could argue if you're in the 3rd to last pick and there's a
'Cause
defense you really like, it's like, okay, then
sure.
fucking take it, dude.
Well, I mean, I just stream defenses. Kicker, I'll take a guy because, like I said,
you swap them out.
Yeah,
that's exactly
I go
what
off the
do.
matchups, because you can have a defense. Like, for example, Jets defense, great, but they're playing the Niners week 1.
Absolutely.
Do you really want to play a defense against the Niners?
People
no.
don't think
but
about
guess
that,
what?
though.
You can go and get a defense.
The Falcons are playing Pittsburgh.
The Falcons.
I'm taking
defense.
the Falcons defense to play against Pittsburgh because they're going to be
You can get a defense like that. Granted, Jets defense is good. You make it a turnover, but I would feel more comfortable going in starting a Falcons defense against Pittsburgh rather than starting the Jets against the Niners.
For 1 week, and then you also have the upside of a guy that you decided to take in that round instead of a defense, and an Xavier Worthy, and a Jaden Reed.
Just think about it. In most occasions, you're usually playing in a 10 or 12 man league.
Yeah.
Most teams are only taking one defense. Outside of some people we draft with. But most teams are only taking one defense, right?
Yeah, that's another
So any given week, there's 20 defenses, 15 to 20 defenses just sitting out there on the waiver wire.
Yeah.
That more than likely have a better matchup than the defense you have. But yeah, getting back to our point, like I said, there's 15 defenses more than likely you have about 15 defense sitting on the waiver wire. Half of them probably have a better matchup than the defense you may have.
Yeah.
I mean, not every week. Your defense that you do draft is going to have a great matchup. But the Browns, like I said, they have a top 5 strength of schedule, and their division's just tough. So more than half the games, I probably don't want to start their defense against the team they're playing.
Yeah, dude.
I'm not going to start them against Baltimore. I'm not going to start them against Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, maybe.
Maybe, yeah, probably. Definitely Pittsburgh.
But you know, like, there's teams that I'm just not starting a defense. I don't care what defense they are.
I mean, it makes it easy for me when I'm in a draft with people who want to do that. I hope that when we do this draft next year, people are taking 3 quarterbacks and 2 kickers and 2
that's
defenses.
What I meant, because
I don't care.
Like we were talking before the show, I got Mark Andrews round 6. Yeah. In a 14-man league, I got Mark Andrews round 6. I got insane. Stafford in round 10 or 12, something in that range. I got Christian Kirk in like round 9. I got Raheem Mostert round 8, I think.
Yeah. Players just fell because you have guys. Oh, well, I already got my running backs, and I didn't draft a kicker out. I got
people drafting 2 kickers before they're like 4th receiver.
Marshawn Lloyd should not be going after a kicker in any league.
I agree.
That's just it.
Like I said, I mean, it worked out in my favor. I thoroughly enjoy the team I drafted.
Marshawn Lloyd, let alone Jaden Reed or Xavier Worthy. We can't even talk about that anymore.
Like I said, more. Are you going to get good weeks out of the Browns defense? Absolutely. 100%. Are you going to get good weeks out of the Jets defense? Absolutely.
But you're going to get good weeks out of the Chiefs defense, out of the Falcons,
exactly.
Teams just matchups. It's not matchups sometimes.
It's tough matchups. But then the thing is too, if you drafted early and you took the Cowboys defense, Deron Bland's out 8 weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then say you draft the Browns defense in round 7, Myles Garrett goes down. That defense isn't getting you much.
Yeah.
Because the sack totals on the defense are going to go down. You're not getting those points. So it's just, like I said, I don't draft for injuries or thinking about injuries. But it's just one of the things you got to be careful thinking, because, you can draft a guy like Reed as one individual player, whereas you draft a defense, that's the whole defense.
That should be a crime. You should just go get locked up. If you take a defense, when you see a guy like Jaden Reed or Xavier Worthy sitting there and you decide to go, let me just take my defense now. Why not?
You want to do some like preseason award picks? Who we think, MVP and want to do some of those?
Okay, we could run through that pretty
quick. I got a couple of mine written down. Some of them are hot takes.
I did not write mine down.
But I could probably remember them.
I'm gonna go on the fly here.
Let me ask you.
Write them down.
Well, let me ask you who right now, August 31st, 2024. No regular season game has started. Who's your MVP pick for the season?
MVP. I did actually think about this one a little bit. Knee-jerk reaction, you have to always at least throw some consideration of Mahomes. I mean, he's a dog. I am going to let my bias bleed through here because I think quarterback, and I think that it comes down to either Allen putting the team on his back with no wide receivers this year.
Sure.
Mahomes, because he just does Mahomes things. Or my boy Jalen Hurts. And I think the tush push. I don't think the tush push is going to stop. I think this is going to be an offense under Kellen Moore.
They only improved.
They got
lost Kelsey though. Big loss.
It is a massive loss. But Cam Jurgens looked pretty good.
Sure.
Jason Kelsey talks up a lot about the young guy Cam Jurgens. But okay.
I did want to ask you though, since you brought up Allen, and the one thing we were going to touch on was the Chiefs, or not the Chiefs, the Green Bay and Philly game.
Oh yeah.
What are your, as an Eagles fan, so you're going to know more about this than I do. What is your take on, this reporting that's coming out that Sirianni and Hurts, aren't getting along?
I think it's a lot of
Do you think people are just people heard it and they're blowing it out of proportion, or do you think there's an actual issue there?
I looked into it for about 5 minutes and then immediately closed the article. I just.
It's a lot of hot air.
I think it's a lot of hot air. I mean, you look at like what happened with the Jets a month ago or whenever it happened, where they're at camp and Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers look like they're getting into it, and it's like, Garrett Wilson and Aaron are fighting on the sideline.
Well,
it's
that
like,
came out too,
dude,
though.
like,
That apparently the whole Jets like locker room is just terrible.
Really?
Like they're just like apparently like no one's getting along, and
yeah, I found that hard. I found that hard to believe. For some reason.
Granted, like you said, who's reporting it, who's saying
exactly sources.
Who knows?
Baby.
Exactly,
It's just
sources. Believe the sources.
No, dude, why would Jalen have a problem with Nick Sirianni? I mean,
that's why I was asking, because I didn't read into it. You have 5 minutes more of reading than I do into it. I saw the headline, and
we'll go into a Nick Sirianni talk another day, because there is a lot that I don't think that people, average football watchers, understand about Sirianni. They wanted him fired last year, which is ridiculous.
Which is crazy.
Thank you for saying that, crazy. Cody. I appreciate that.
I mean, he takes you to a Super Bowl his first year as a coach. Second year as a coach.
But in the first year, go to the playoff.
And then his third year, you start
like
11-0.
Yeah.
Granted, you fell apart, but you can't just fire a coach because you had a little bad spree.
He doesn't call offensive plays either. So
exactly.
Don't be mad about the play calling.
If that's the case, Belichick should have been fired 4 years ago.
That being said, slide it in there really quick. We're digressing here. I would pick Jalen to come back as the MVP. I think he has a comeback season with the offense and Kellen Moore.
So you might like my MVP pick because I think you're a fan of this guy. And again, mine are little hot takes. I don't like to go with the cliche picks here. My MVP pick, C.J. Stroud.
Okay, cool. I like Stroud. I thought you were going to say Josh Allen.
No, because I mean, another year under DeMeco Ryans as coach.
DeMeco Ryans
brought in Stephon Diggs. Brought in Joe Mixon. Offensive line's getting better.
Dogs.
I'm just saying, man. He's surrounded by talent. He's talented.
The dogs are barking, and DeMeco Ryans bringing the kibble and bits.
It's there,
dude.
man. I mean, the writing's on the wall for a Stroud MVP season.
No, I
mean, honestly, I'd like to,
Joe Mixon, baby.
Like I said,
Joe Mixon
brought in a ton of talent.
Check down King right there, dude.
Brought in a ton of talent, and we saw what he did last year. You got a healthy Tank Dell. Like I said, Diggs now. I mean, the writing's on the wall for him to have a, MVP-esque season.
They're gonna be good, man. They're gonna be good.
I like them.
They got a good pass rush too.
I could see them,
being
AFC
dogs.
represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. Hot take. I can see it.
I think that they're going to. I don't think that's a hot take. I think they're definitely going to win that division. I think the only threat probably is a healthy Anthony Richardson is competing for that division.
Sure. I like the Texans over the Colts.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But I think that if there's any other team, it's just going to come to an AR being healthy enough to compete, and that could be like a sneaky, wild card who wins the division thing.
Sure. I'm not going to ask you offensive or defensive player of the year because I feel like every year it's between like 3 dudes on each side.
Yeah.
But how about, who would you say offensive rookie?
If I have to pick a guy, I think it's easy to say Marv.
It's easy to say something like Marv. It's easy to say someone like Caleb.
It's easy to say Caleb. I don't think that Caleb's going to win offensive rookie. He could. He certainly could. I think a sleeper is someone like a Bo Nix. He is the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos. He had a good preseason. Preseason's not everything, but my pick, my final pick, if I had to put it in stone, I got to pick Keon Coleman on the Buffalo Bills wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean,
he could be that number one guy and just become if he becomes a favorite for Josh.
Too.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Oh, speaking of the Bills offense, another tangent, another good sleeper pick. Go get Curtis Samuel.
You like Curtis?
Do yourself a favor. Go get Curtis Samuel.
See, as a Keon believer, I don't think Curtis is going to be as good as
Go
Keon.
get him. Go get him.
Go get him.
Like I said, I think I got him, round 13 or 14. At that point, I mean, that's great value.
It's good value for where he goes, for sure. But if I get Keon, I'm not taking Curtis.
I'm not going to reach on a Curtis Samuel.
Yeah.
But if he just happens to fall to me like he did, like around 13, 14.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm taking him.
Yeah.
Because like you said, you have Keon Coleman, sure, but rookie. Are they going to throw him out there week 1? Like, all right, there you go. Or are they going to move along?
I think he is going to go in week 1.
But
they don't have many options.
Even in that case, again, they don't have options. Curtis Samuel, they're going to throw him in a slot receiver.
He certainly could run the job, yeah.
I could see it. I could see a world where we're looking at Curtis Samuel and he's catching 6 passes a game.
Even if he
probably won't score a lot, so temper your expectations there.
Even if he just.
But if you're playing in a PPR, he might get you 10 points a week.
Yeah, dude. Even if he just fulfills the Gabe Davis role. where he's just that guy who's not doing any big plays, but he becomes a reliable target, second option.
He's a little more consistent than Gabe Davis.
Yeah, well, yeah,
but,
yeah,
no, I know what you mean.
But for the value of where you're getting
exactly.
to, you know. So
my offensive rookie? I picked Marvin Harrison. I mean,
for obvious reasons,
the number one on this team. Who's really? I mean, you have what's his name, Michael Wilson, not really proven. Greg Dortz. I mean, you have the tight end who I like a lot, McBride.
Trey McBride, yeah.
But I mean, the dude's a dog.
He's a dog.
He's a dog.
He's just a dog. He has the Hall of Fame name, which is really hard to just not look at. You know what I mean?
He's a dog. The draft capital's there. I mean, you don't really like to go off that, but they use a high pick on him. They're going to use him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He has no competition.
Exactly. The competition for targets is far and few between.
See, that's kind of how I look at Keon, though.
Keon's fine too, but you have like Kincaid. You have Shakir's coming back,
and I do like Shakir.
Not crazy about, but Shakir could be fine. I like Curtis Samuel. He's gonna eat targets. James Cook's gonna catch some passes. Josh Allen's gonna run the ball.
Yeah, that's true.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's
I mean, because even if you look at Stephon Diggs, the last 3/4 of the season last year, he wasn't really doing that much.
No.
I don't know whether it just they wrote him out of the playbook or that offense just had different ideas. But I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Coleman, but I would rather take a Curtis Samuel in the later rounds than I would a Coleman in say around 8 or 9. I'd rather take a Samuel in 12 or 13.
That's where we disagree, brother. It's our first disagreement. I something about Keon, and it is. I agree with you. It definitely is a question mark of they don't know who the guy is. There's a competition for who's the wide receiver one on Buffalo right now, and Keon Cole could easily lose that role, or he could earn it. Curtis could lose it or earn it.
Exactly.
Khalil Shakir
it's
be the number one guy.
Offense you don't know what you're going to get, so draft responsibly.
Yeah.
You don't really know what you're going to get until you actually see them playing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it seems to me it could be one of those offense where, this week Samuel's getting you 15 fantasy points.
The target share is high.
Next week Coleman's getting you 15. Shakir might get you 15.
Yeah.
And, any given week, each receiver's going to
it's very possible.
be the guy.
Very possible. I just believe.
Hey, I think Coleman.
I just believe.
I like Coleman too. I have him in a couple.
What is it like? Barack Obama, like hope, believe, whatever. It's like his face.
Like
I just see Keon Coleman with like the face that says like believe. Yeah.
I have him in a couple dynasty leagues. I mean, like you said, the potential's there. I mean, the competition really isn't there.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Quarterback, good offense, good.
The door's open.
I mean,
the door's unlocked. If anything,
it's he's set up to have a good situation and career. Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's kind of why I go Harrison, because it's a lot of the same reasons. I just think better talent.
Oh, definitely a better talent. I don't disagree with that. Marvin Harrison has a higher floor.
Yeah. So a lot of the things we just said about Coleman also resonate with Marv, and I think the talent's better. The target share is going to be more his. It's less competition, I think, personally, than in Buffalo. We'll see what the offense looks like, because, I mean, outside of Harrison, I don't really care for the offense. I mean, James Conner's a serviceable guy, but he's getting older, injury history. Kyler, what are we going to see out of him this year?
I think Kyler has a bounce back year.
You'd hope so.
I'm
hoping so. I like him, but it's just like, you don't know what you're going to get, but...
Look what he did with. I mean, I don't want to immediately compare Marvin Harrison Jr. to DeAndre Hopkins in his pretty much prime. Sure. But when he has a number one wide receiver you go to, I mean, they were undefeated for a good part of the beginning of that season. They were like 8-0 or something when they had D-Hop. Like,
you know who gave them the first loss of the year that year?
The Packers.
Packers. Rasul Douglas. Jameson pick.
Did you happen to do defensive player of the year or no?
So I did.
We show no love to the defense.
Defensive rookie of the year, but
defensive
player of the year, I was like, it's going to come down to Garrett, Watt, or Boza.
Okay.
I'll ask you, who's your defensive rookie? I have mine.
I'm gonna double check the depth chart really quick on this team.
I'll give you mine real quick.
Yeah, you give me yours.
And
I'm listening. And I'm just checking something.
I'm taking Dallas Turner of the Minnesota Vikings.
I like that.
Daniil Hunter's gone. I think he's going to be a guy week 1. I mean, he's going to be the starter. He'll be out on the field for majority of the game, and I think he will more than likely is going to be the one that fills that Daniil Hunter role. And I could out of all the rookies, I could see a world where he might be the sack leader out of the rookies this year.
No, that's very fair. I like Mr. Dallas. I will tell you, I don't have the pick off the top of my head because there is a player that I really do like, but he is slightly buried in the depth chart of this team right now. He was taken in the first round. I'm not saying he's going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, but just a sleeper pick to look out for. I really, really like Nate Wiggins from Clemson on the Ravens. That's another perfect situation to get drafted to, especially for a player like a cornerback.
You know who I like? Cooper DeJean.
Oh, okay. I'll take him. I thought I whispered Quinyon and you said Cooper, but I like Coop too.
Mitchell. I also like Edgerrin Cooper, Green Bay's linebacker that they drafted.
Okay, so they got
him a lot. I also like Javon Bullard. I mean, he's going to start opposite Xavier McKinney on that defense.
I was trying to look up.
I could see. I mean, safeties and corners rarely win. I don't want to say rarely, but more often than not, you're going to see like a linebacker edge guy win it.
Yeah.
But I like Javon Bullard a lot. Like, I remember when the draft was happening, and I was freaking out when Green Bay didn't take a corner in the first round. But the fact that we were able to get the lineman round one, and then second round we got Cooper and Bullard, I was more than happy.
If I had a pick, I would probably go... Again, it's my bias. I want to say I would either go Quinyon Mitchell on the Eagles or Terrion Arnold from Bama on the Lions.
Yeah, it's a good pick too.
Because they're both gonna start. You know what I mean?
These studs too.
I'll lean on my guy. I'll lean towards my guy Quinyon. I think
maybe Mitchell will cover up that liability of James Bradbury.
Yeah. Well, James Bradbury actually just came out. He's going through an injury now, so he's probably going to be out for the first couple of weeks, which is, man, so sad to hear. Oh, no. God, no. No.
I hate that we have to play them week one now.
No, I never wish an injury on anybody, but, oh, no, Quinyon and Cooper have to play more. Oh, damn. Oh, shit.
What a shame.
Yeah.
How about we just end this? We can start Survivor. Who are you taking? One team that you think's gonna win.
Wait, so how does the Survivor thing work?
Survivor, you
Explain
take
to myself and the
so
myself
basically
and the people.
some of you might have done Survivor leagues. So basically, what you do is each week you pick a team. If they win, you move on. If they lose, you don't. But once you pick a team, you can't pick them again.
Okay.
So my Survivor pick this week, I would probably go Cincinnati over New England.
Yeah, that's an easy one. Okay, if we're going easy...
Well, that's the thing is, you gotta... I mean, do you want that one? Cause
no, you got it.
Because I like Saints over Carolina, too. That's another one I might take.
So, now...
Those are the two I was deciding between.
Now, we gotta track these. You gotta write them down. So
yeah.
You can't pick it again.
No, track them. Like I said, those are my top two. Those are the two I looked at and I was like, oh, these are probably the easiest picks. But I don't know. I feel like Carolina could be one of those teams that, I mean, Saints aren't great, so I can definitely see them upsetting the Saints week one. Packers over the Eagles.
I was thinking about saying the Eagles, but no, that game's gonna be a barn burner. I wouldn't pick that game.
Yeah, that could go either way.
I would definitely pick the over in that game, whatever the hell the over is. Give me the Dolphins over the Jaguars. But I think that could be a close game. I think that could be a closer game.
I agree, but I like the Dolphins. I wouldn't be surprised if they win the division this year. I think it's wide open. I mean, any of those
Jets
three teams could win. Yeah. I mean, I'm counting New England out here, but any of those three teams I think are in the running to win that division.
I wasn't counting them in.
Definitely wasn't counting them in. But yeah, I mean, that division's wide open. I can see Miami taking that. So it's a good pick. So we'll lock you in at Miami over Jags. I'll take Cincinnati over New England. All right. Well, that wraps up
episode 1, baby.
Episode numero
Mark it down and
of the Sweet Life
in history. You were here to see
Cody.
You were here to see the first episode.
Big thank yous to Dontavian Wicks for really getting this going. Another thank you to Anthony, Mike, all you guys over at the Get Right Network, allowing us to piggyback off of you guys, freeload off of your subscribers and your live stream and your YouTube channel. So thanks for that. Big thanks to you, Jack, for hopping on this venture with me.
Man. Oh, I'm excited. This is the start of. I'm ready to make it a thing.
Start of something new.
Start of something new. Season 1 of Sweet Life. You were here to see it. Thank you, dudes.